Okay, I just want to say, how is everyone doing this evening? I'm doing fine, even though it's been kind of crazy, but yet a blessing in disguise. And I'm here to tell my story from Saturday up until today. Today is Tuesday. I'm here in Atlanta, and I've been on a journey, but it's so many, how can I explain it? I guess undisguisable blessings that has fell within my lap, more so in my hands, and it's just up to me to pick up the pieces and put it all together and go from there. From the last video, the person that I was with, I was mad. I was hot, And normally I don't try to be that way, but dealing with people who have their own personal issues and they want to tend to take them out on me, I should say, is that even though that kind of affect me to a certain extent, I really couldn't let that get in the way. I came here for a reason, and then it makes me coming here for a reason. That reason end up being served, or it's getting done, I should say. I'm just here to say that no matter what you go through, no matter what you got going on, don't give up, because you never know what God has in store for you. And I've always believed in God, even though I might have some wretched ways. I know, we all do. However, I came down here for an investment class, dropping knowledge with Judy, Miss Dupree, or Dupar Harris. I said her name wrong. But, I came and I did that investment, and we was in a room full of women. Basically, we was all learning how to brand and monetize our business through marketing. And, hey, if that's what you choose to do, hit her up. She's on tour. So, with that being said, I ended up having some challenges that I was facing afterwards. And again, I still didn't give up. Moving forward. Being here, I pretty much, didn't have a place to stay once I left that other crazy party that I was with. And with that being said, it still remains the same. I personally don't have a problem with it. Why? Because I've been in this situation before. Yes, I do have a home, just not here in Atlanta. However, I basically had to put my mindset back in that survival mode of having survival skills, being here in Atlanta. And the mix of me having those survival skills is to say that no matter what you go through, you got to go back to your resources. Nobody's ever too good for any type of resources. If you need help, you need help. You can't be in denial about what you need, and you can't be too good for what you need, and you need it. So with that being said, I do have a sister-in-law who lives here. Talking to her kind of helped relieve some of the tension versus keeping it in, saying I'm here all alone. No, not really. I'm not. But, she has her own personal space. And me, I don't like to intrude on other people's privacy or space. However, me being here, I'm sitting in the car and I'm thinking, funds is kind of tight. By my funds being tight, being in the room with those women, it leads to prayer. But in the mix of prayer, as a whole team or a whole group, I feel like it opened up doors, for me. And it just requires me to think. Don't think no less than what you are when you are more than what you may or may not have at that moment. So with that being said, gospel, playing it. Praying through the process, praying. I mean, over everything. And when she say pray over everything, before, after, and in the middle, that's what she means. And that's for anybody. So I'm here to say, even though I prayed through everything that's been going on afterwards, hey, I done applied for 2 different jobs. So far, so good. They called me back. Am I on? Maybe. I don't know. I just got to wait on the call back. Especially if I got to be down here for, another 2 weeks. Which, that's kind of part of the plan anyway. And I know some probably thinking like, well, why didn't you pay for everything in advance? I could have, but I didn't. Because I thought I might have had some type of help with the person that had rolled with me, but that didn't work out. And all the reality, I really didn't need her help. I could have did it on my own, but I didn't, because I chose to do other things beforehand. However, to say that the help that I know that I can get, first and foremost, I had to call on God to say, hey, Lord, what am I going to do? So with that being said, I'm not too ashamed to say, hey, I went to a shelter, But then at the same time, I had to leave because I had other engagements to attend. And with that being said, I'll be back there tomorrow. In the mix of going to the shelter, that's when I applied for the 2 jobs. I heard from both places. But when it comes to work placement, that's probably going to come maybe at the end of the week, maybe sometime next week. I don't know. It's God's call through the work of them. Everybody's a vessel in some way, somehow, to somebody. You never know who God sends to you as your angel. Everybody's not mean, even though some can come off a little snobby, but they're not mean. So my thing is, hey, you believe in God, stand strong in prayer, stand strong in your faith, and just keep on moving. You put in the work, He'll make a way. He'll open up a door for you. So me already been in a familiar place of sleeping in the car. And at that time, when I was sleeping in the car, it was 3 years ago, 4 years. No, I take that back. My daughter 7 years ago, 8 years ago. And I think I slept in my car for almost, maybe a year and a half, 2 years, maybe, almost, something like that. Sleeping from pillar to post. And I used to pray and say, Lord, no matter where you put me, I'm just ready to go home. I pray that you find a place for me and my kids. And He did that. He put me in the projects. I was like, finally got my own place. I'm excited, but it's crazy over here. I said, maybe I should have been a little bit more specific. So, and then from there, I stayed there for a year. From another year, I was out. I ended up being in a 4-bedroom house, stayed there for 2 years. After 2 years, I moved to a 5-bedroom house, which I made it to a 6-bedroom house. I've been there for 2 years. So now that me being here in Atlanta through the process of my life, and the Lord then told me, take a leap of faith. Even though I just went to Florida a month ago, that's where I really wanted to live, which really my first choice was here in Atlanta. And I was like, nah, I don't want to do that. It reminds me too much of my city. But then I came back on an investment trip, and all the resources it start coming. I got more resources. I got more resources here being in Atlanta versus being in Florida, which I was limited because I didn't have my own transportation. We was using a Uber or a Lyft. And with that being said, I talked to my sister-in-law. I told her, I said, well, I'm gonna be here. I said, I understand, you gotta maintain your household. And I was like, even though it's last minute for me, I don't want to rain on your parade. So, she understood, and I understood as well, as a woman that I am, is to say, I'm going to go ahead and find a job. She said, you know what? If you take it that far to go ahead and find you a job, you might as well move here. I said, you know what? You're right. But the funny part is, I started gathering paperwork before I even left. That paperwork is with me right now. So I'm like, wow, you went to a business event. I'm like, okay, you had a little altercation, but that altercation will always come about when you pray and the prayer is strong. Something's gonna always try to pop up and block you and derail you and distract you from where you really trying to go. And again, in a matter of what, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 4 days, I've received more resources being here versus being in Florida. And the hospitality is so sweet. The vibe is so sweet. The people are nice. The people are friendly. They don't even have a problem talking to you. So, my thing is to say, what you think may not be for you, it turned out to be for you. You just got to know and have the discernment to say, this is for me. So, my move, I'm trying to get away from this glare of a light. My move is going to be here in Atlanta, and I do believe that, and I stand on that, in agreement with God, no matter what. I'm just saying, for anybody out there who think they got it bad, it's always somebody that's worse off than you and going through it worse off than you are, or if not harder than you are. Just keep going. Just keep going. You know, because in all due reality, it's just like, man, I'm tired. But I'm like, nah, let me go out here and see what I can find or get help with and make it work. Because, like, there's 26 letters in the alphabet. They always tell you have a plan A. Have no other plan. That it might work for some, but it don't work for all. I don't care if you have a plan A, B, C, D, E through Z. Long as you got a plan to connect all your dots or all your letters to make it work for you, don't worry about what works for the next person. You just worry about what works for you. So with that being said, I done had a peace of mind. It might be a little tough, but I definitely had a peace of mind. You know, I mean, they also got resources at places like that. You need to go take a shower, go take it. Go to a shelter. You need to go wash your clothes, go to a shelter. They have those resources for you, or for somebody like myself, you know. So no matter how many times I call myself trying to climb up this ladder, or I might fall back down, I know to go back to my resources to say, hey, I need this. Hey, I need to take care of that. Can you help me? You know. And my thing is, oh man, I ain't quite there yet. But once you get in a certain position of a lifestyle that you done made or accomplished for yourself, just never forget where you come from. Because even though I have a 6-bedroom house back at home, but I'm struggling in another state, I'm in transition to something bigger and better. That's what God has for me. I believe that's my message from me to you or whoever choose to listen. And go from there. My thing is, you got to make it work. If you want it, you got to go get it. I remember that when I was in church, which was my cousin's church. The pastor said, God said, if you want something and you pray out to him, what you got to do? Everybody sitting down. Nobody knew what to do. He walking around with this piece of paper. Only one lady stood up. She stood up and she walked to him. You got to go and get what you want. If you want it, you got to go get it. Because it ain't going to come to you. It'll come to you. And it might be through conversation, a dream or a vision, or just anything. You got to go get what you want. And that's all there is to it. You know. So, I'm just saying, it's been a struggle here in the Georgia Peach State to a certain extent, but yet it's a blessing in disguise. It really is. One thing I can say, being here in Atlanta, you can feel the family-oriented vibe. And the funny thing is, the reason of the altercation that happened on Sunday was because the person is an alcoholic. And she was mad because she couldn't get liquor at a certain time of her drinking. And to find out that they don't sell liquor until 1 o'clock, you might as well say. I said, oh, they believe in God. Okay. You're not going to disturb his peace. And now he asked for 1 day out of 7. So I was like, I said, something is telling me this is where you need to be. You know, because God only asks for 1 day. He don't even want you to drink on his time, even if you don't go to church. So, you know, I'm just like, wow. I'm like, really? I knew me giving Atlanta, Georgia, and not Atlanta by itself, because it's other cities that's in Georgia, you know, to where I feel like the vibe is the same no matter what. Highs or lows, doesn't matter. The vibe is still the same. So for me to give the Georgia State, Auntie Georgia A, yeah, you ain't gonna drink in my house, not on no Sunday before 1 o'clock, baby. This is God's day. We're gonna have his day on this 1 day. This is what we do. If you praise him, you praise him. You don't. But what you're not gonna do is drink and sin on his 1 day that he asked for. On his time. You're gonna have to wait. If you don't like it, get on up out of here. That's basically that's when Auntie she speak up. That's what she means. She being business. You're going to respect him. And another thing that I like is that so many people have decent jobs. Not only decent jobs, they got a side hustle or a business. Let me put it that way. And if they willing to promote their business, they will. And if you're willing to work with them and cross-promote, they will. So my thing is, if you come here, I don't know a lot about this place. If you struggle, that's on you. That is definitely on you. Because there's ways to survive in so many ways. You just got to put in the work yourself. Keep God first, keep going. Find your resources and connect and go from there. So I was going to title this My Atlanta Struggles, but really it ain't no struggle. It's a blessing in disguise. It really is. It really is. So, yeah, folks better start praying and stand strong in your faith. Because if I can do it, and I got 8 kids, anybody who got less kids than me can do the same. I'm just saying. So, I just hope y'all enjoyed this message and have a good night, a wonderful evening, and stay prayed up. Be blessed. All right, that's my story. I got more to come here soon, in a couple of days, and we'll see where it goes from there. Because at this point, I think I'm going to be down here I'm moving anyway, but for right now, and I know I'm going to be down here for a few weeks. And then I'll be headed to Texas. I'm going to see Mr. Bishop T.D. Jakes. Going to that good old leadership conference, and I don't know where I might go from there. There's a stairway to heaven for real. So y'all be safe out there. Have a good one. Good night.